I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share a great organization and a great experience that I love participating in every year. A program called the SLEWS Program. What does SLEWS mean? Let me tell you. SLEWS is an acronym, and it stands for Student and Landowner Education and Watershed Stewardship. Student, Landowner, Education, Watershed Stewardship. All that kind of stuff. Good stuff. It's a program run by a nonprofit called the Center for Land-Based Learning. And what SLEWS does is it brings students, high school students, to land owned by a landowner, and it gives everyone some sort of education and experience and perspective on habitat restoration, on ecology, on environmental awareness, on the impacts that we humans have on this planet. And it does so in some really fantastic and creative ways. In particular, one of the real strengths of SLEWS is that it gets students, these groups of high school students, out and gives them very practical, real-world, hands-on experience with habitat restoration projects. So what usually happens is there's a landowner, someone who owns a farm or a ranch of some kind, and who wants to do something great for the planet, who wants to have some improved habitat on their property. And so they work with the Center for Land-Based Learning and the SLEWS staff to kind of figure out a project. There are often other agencies, resource conservation districts, federal agencies, state agencies, kind of involved in getting the funding together and kind of putting together the project and designing it and having some input. But once the project is kind of figured out, that's when the students come in. Because like behind me here, this is actually a SLEWS project that we're going to be working on today. There's an area of ground that maybe the farmer isn't using or is at least willing to contribute to some habitat. So they say, okay, let's get some plants planted. Now, in order to plant a successful bunch of native plants in whatever arrangement you happen to be talking about, there are a bunch of steps that are involved, and the students get to be involved in all of those steps. So students come out and they help hands-on laying irrigation lines. They help planting the actual plants. They help caring for the plants after they've been planted. They help installing sometimes other habitat features, sometimes bluebird boxes, stuff like that. So they really get involved in the installation of the entire project. And like I said, one of the real serious strengths of SLEWS, in my opinion, is not just the hands-on impact, which is fantastic, but it's the repeated hands-on impact. One of the things I like about the program is that the same group of students comes out to the same spot multiple times over the course of a school year, so that they can really be involved in multiple steps in the process. And they can really see the development of those earlier steps at later visits. So they can see how the irrigation line that they laid is working. They can see how the plants that they've planted along the irrigation line that they installed are growing. They can see how the mulch that they put around the plants that they planted along the irrigation line that they installed is helping to sort of insulate those plants and trap moisture and really help those plants to grow. And it's because of the sort of repeated touch points on the land that I think a lot of value and the strength of the program is gained. So, fantastic organization, fantastic effort. Now, this may surprise you. I'm not a high school student. I also don't own a farm or a ranch. I also don't work for the Center of Land-Based Learning. So, you might legitimately ask, Aaron, what are you doing there? Well, this is another strength of the SLEWS program that is another reason why I keep coming back year after year after year. And that is that to help students understand what's going on in the landscape, to help get these projects installed, the Center for Land-Based Learning, and the SLEWS program in particular, brings in mentors. These are professionals, grad students, who work in environmentally sort of kind of related fields and who want to sort of help out and help teach and help share and help sort of guide and mentor, hence mentors. And that's why I'm here. I get to serve as a mentor today for the group of students who are coming today. I started mentoring when I was in graduate school, and I kept going through much of my graduate school career. And then my previous position as well, I was able to come out and act as a mentor. And then my current position with the Wildlife Conservation Board is continuing to allow me to kind of come out and lend a hand and mentor. And so it's fantastic. You know, you have maybe 4, 5, 6 mentors from a diversity of backgrounds come in. The students get divvied up into little small groups with each mentor. So there's a lot of sort of student-mentor interaction, very sort of small student-to-mentor ratios, which is fantastic. And you get to work with these students and show them how to plant stuff, show them how to install irrigation line, but also have the opportunity to just have conversations with them, talk about why you're there, talk about what they're concerned about, what they're learning about, how they see the world. So I think that the information and the benefits really go both ways. I hope that the students gain something from talking to mentors, from hearing about career paths and the ideas that inspire us to pursue lifetimes in habitat restoration, conservation, ecology, science, biology kind of fields. But I definitely know that I definitely gain great benefits from my interactions with the students, from hearing their perspectives and what their concerns are and how they view life. I definitely get a lot out of it. So it's a two-way street. Everybody benefits, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. And so that kind of brings me to what we're going to be doing today, what this project is. So like I said, there are usually 3, maybe 4 visits that students participate in at the same location over the course of a year. Today is going to be visit number 2 at this particular site. So a few weeks ago, we all came out, students, mentors, SLEWS staff, etc. We all came out and we planted about 150 or so native plants along 3 lines of irrigation lines that we first had to lay. And so there are actually 2 of the irrigation lines back behind me, and then there's another one off to the side, a longer one that runs along sort of the side of this field here. And what these are eventually going to become are native hedgerows. So what that means is they're basically long, straight rows of plants that will eventually grow up into this very complex, very diverse set of habitats and resources. So there's not just one species of plant planted along the entire line of irrigation. Instead, it's a melange, a mismatch, a mosaic of a ton of different native species, which all have different sort of features. Some of them are tall, some of them are short, some of them grow out really, really bushy, some of them are sort of more sticky. Some of them have fruits that are really important as food resources. Some of them have nectar that are really important as resources. The ones that have nectar bloom at different times of year, so there's sort of always something going on. And so this really benefits native pollinators that will live in the area and use these resources. And also all those different structures produce a lot of different varying habitats for rabbits and birds, all sorts of creatures that also kind of each need its own special little niche, which hopefully will be provided by some portion of this hedgerow. So today we're going to be finishing up a little bit of the planting. Like I said, we did about 150 plants last time, had still a few more to do, so we'll finish that off. We're going to bring in a bunch of mulch and put it kind of around the bases of all the plants that we've installed to, like I said, keep a little bit of moisture in, a little bit of warmth around their roots, give them a little extra boost to really grow as strongly and vibrantly as possible. And I think there are a few other little tasks that we're going to be getting to. So, it's early, nobody's gotten here yet, but when they do, we're going to sort of go along the day and see how the whole thing works and give you a little perspective on the SLEWS program and habitat restoration in action on a working farm.
Yep, coyote bush.
And
And that is a really important pollinator plant because it blooms for a lot of the year. So it blooms in
it's not different.
So did you hear what she said the species was?
That is a
Valley oak or something?
So the leaves look a little oaky, but that's actually not. This is not.
Washington redwood.
Redwoods would dry out totally out here. They need a lot of water. This is a coyote bush.
Coyote bush.
Oh, what?
Coyote bush.
Yeah.
Coyote bush.
Yep, called coyote bush, and they're awesome.
Does it lay eggs to coyotes?
Sir.
Yeah,
No, it
how
doesn't.
Coyotes are made.
I'm not entirely sure why it's got the name coyote bush, other than maybe coyotes like to hang out in them.
Maybe one day the person that named the plant saw a coyote next to it was like, I don't know what to name this plant.
Coyote can't
There's
find
a coyote there and it's a bush.
You know,
I call it coyote bush.
I've heard of crazier naming stories. This is a valley elderberry that we're planting here.
So, I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but walking around, some of the plants we planted last time are looking a little dry. Has anyone noticed that yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the way that we can protect these plants from things like wind and direct sunlight is this handy dandy thing called a tube. And it, actually the official name is Tubex. Very fancy. Okay. These tubes have one edge that's really rough because it got cut. They've all been cut in half. And then some of them have an edge that's got this like fluted end on it. Does everyone see that? Okay, so you want the rough edge to go face the ground. And the smooth edge that either has this flute or is just straight and smooth should be facing up. And then there's this piece of the tube. This is a zip tie, and it actually is the kind of zip tie that you can close and then reopen. So there's a little button that you can push so you can get it as just the right position. Now, does anyone know where the wind comes from usually right here?
You remember the last time that we were here?
Oh, the west.
North.
The
Yeah,
north.
it was coming from that way, right? It was hitting us really hard.
So when we put these tubes in, we're holding them in place with this bamboo stake. And you want the bamboo stake to be in the direction that the wind comes from. So that, if the wind is blowing, it's more stable on the side that it's getting hit the most from, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna find your plant, you're going to very gently gather the plant so that it fits inside the tube. And this may be harder or easier depending on how big the plant is at this point, right? So you might have to struggle a little bit with that. And then you want to just kind of wiggle the tube until it gets firmly seated in the soil, okay?
Kind of like a cookie cutter. You all know, have you ever cooked sugar cookies before or like been able to bake those kind of cookies? So it's kind of like when you're having a cookie cutter, how you got to work it in a little bit.
Exactly. And then these spots should be pretty moist because they've been getting watered. So our goal today is going to be to get these bamboo stakes as far into the ground as we possibly can, okay? And for more stability, you want the fat end to be in the ground and the skinny end to be facing up, right? Because if there's pressure, you want it to be on the fattest end of the bamboo stick, okay? And it has to go through the zip tie on the outside of the tube, just like this. Okay, so that's about as far in as I can get it. And now when I'm done, the last step is to tighten the zip tie as tight as you can get it, okay? And now, that's pretty stable. So if there's a big wind, you know, it's not gonna tip over, it's not gonna come off, and now that plant has protection.
Play scooping. No, it's about you can't put it Derek wants to really nice.
So this layer of mulch that we place around the base of the tubes, which are protecting the plants, adds an extra layer of protection to keep moisture down in the soil, keep it from evaporating off, so that the plants have a nice, wet soil base to grow their roots into. Otherwise, with the wind and the hot sun, especially as summer comes on in Central California, the soil would dry out incredibly quickly, and the plants would not make it, would not do so well. So this mulch is a really great protector. So that was SLEWS Day, a day with the SLEWS Program, the Student and Landowner Education and Watershed Stewardship Program. Like I said, organized by the Center for Land-Based Learning, wonderful organization, wonderful program. You can see behind me all of the tubes that we put in to protect the previously planted native plants. They're all going to grow in this row. Staked those tubes in so they wouldn't blow away in the wind. Added the mulch around it to keep the moisture in so those plants have all the water that they need to survive. And now they're ready to sit here and grow and become this beautiful, diverse native plant hedgerow. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks to see how they're doing, and hopefully in the years and years to come, this will grow into this amazing, diverse hedgerow, this wonderful resource for animals and other plants as well, to sort of continue to recruit and grow and increase the complexity and increase the value of this habitat that we've installed here on this working farm. So my thanks to the Center for Land-Based Learning and the SLEWS program for letting me join as a mentor. It's always wonderful. I always love coming out and spending days with this program. And thank you for the view. I hope you learned a little something about the event that we had here. I will leave links to both the Center for Land-Based Learning and the SLEWS program specifically in the description below. So by all means, check them out. And until next time, as always, enjoy the natural world.